Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into a slightly delayed start to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What up, boys?
Good morning.
You guys doing all right, bright and early?
Yeah, I used that extra 6 minutes to sleep.
Oh, you sleeped that whole time?
I slept that whole
I forgot
time.
the past tense of sleep.
I slept the whole time.
Coop, what did you use those extra 6 minutes for?
Simon, you would have remembered the past tense of sleep had you had gotten more sleeped.
Yeah.
If you had slept, you would have known that.
You're a little too sleepy. That's why you didn't know the proper word.
Next time I'll try to sleep more.
Every time I get in the chat, like the morning meeting, and you guys aren't there, I just go and make a more and more elaborate breakfast.
So way of coping.
Yeah, this morning we got all the way
Abandonment issues.
Exactly. We got all the way to strawberries and whipped cream this morning.
Wow.
Coop making strawberry shortcakes at 7 a.m.
Putting on like fancy jackets and watches. I'm just like, the boys aren't here. Let's just get
Kate
crazy.
comes in. Yeah. He's just sitting there in like a full chef outfit, like with the whipped cream.
Exactly.
I think
you see me just wearing
a
sweat. If you see me just wearing like a sweatshirt with stains on it, that means you guys showed up on time. And I just
Coop made the first strawberry shortcake before 8 a.m. that's ever been made not on Mother's Day. You only wake up early to make those on Mother's Day, never for yourself. We got Victor in the chat saying, good morning, boys. What's up, Victor?
Morning.
Tommy with a nice little rhyme for us bright and early. Says, a bunch of Titans are now gone. Who intrigues you the most? For me, it's Taylor Lewan.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you boys noticed yesterday, but yeah, the Titans were $23 to $25 million over the cap yesterday, depending where you looked. And by the end of the day, there were $4 million under the cap at the expense of Taylor Lewan, Robert Woods, and Randy Bullock. So they made some snaps yesterday, and now they're ready to rock and roll. Any of those guys interest you from an NFL standpoint? Who would be the one you want to scoop up the most?
I'm most intrigued by where Taylor Lewan goes, primarily because he's been quoted as saying, I only want to play for the Titans. I will not play for another team. We've also seen him show some interest in the Steelers somewhat recently, though, so maybe he's walked that back a little bit. But then at the same time, we know he's got some beef with one of the faces of the franchise for the Steelers. He spit in TJ Watt's face, then invited him on his show, and when TJ Watt said no, he threw a little fit about it. So I don't know if the Steelers are going to bring him in. I don't know where he's going to end up.
That's the interesting thing with these guys is that you hear all the stories, but usually it ends up at the end of the day being like, oh, well, if he can help our team, then I don't care, right?
Yeah.
So we'll have to see with that. The other thing is that Taylor Lewan not been the paramount of health over the last couple of years, especially last year where he tore his ACL. So we'll have to see. But, I mean, this league, man, every team needs at least 2 tackles, and in reality, 3. So we're talking like,
if he wants to play on
90
another
guys.
team, he'll get signed.
He'll get signed, exactly.
If he wants to play, but we'll see if he wants to play on another team. We got Craig down here saying, morning, fellas. What's up, Craig?
Morning, Craig.
Can you sing me any music for cleaning frozen sleet off a driveway? Coop, you got it?
Well, usually I pass the mic to JL for these. I don't want to hog the spotlight. He has the most beautiful voice in the show, in my opinion. So.
I do.
That is true. He's like the siren of Baltimore.
I am.
Luring unexpected dog walkers into his house.
I do all the time.
While they're cleaning sleet off their driveway. You got it, JL?
Yeah, I got it. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Channeling my Fresh Prince.
That sleet's going to be water in no time, baby, Craig.
God, remember when Aunt Viv sang that song? You guys remember that episode?
No, I did not remember that.
I honestly, You just sang it so beautifully that any memory I have of that song has been wiped.
Will thinks he's gonna get an A because Aunt Viv is his teacher at school, but she is super hard on him, and it is a wake up call. Let me tell you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet he really learned a lesson by the end of that episode.
He did.
And then all the viewers also learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Did at some point during the episode, did he get cartoonishly thrown out of the house like Uncle Phil?
Probably. Like Uncle Phil does.
Uncle Phil always does, yeah.
He throws Jazz all the time.
That was so oh yeah, it's Jazzy Jeff that gets thrown. That was so beautiful that I forgot about the original. It's kind of like when Johnny Cash sang Hurt and everyone forgot that that song's by 9 Inch Nails originally. That's basically what you just did with that song, JL. That's a JL song now.
No, it is absolutely not, but thank you.
He just Johnny Cashed it.
We got NKC in here. Good morning, my friend.
What up, NKC?
Victor said, didn't need to clean frozen sweet off my driveway after them vocal cords melted it away.
Ooh.
It is that time of morning, guys. Coop has made himself an elaborate spread and maybe already consumed it.
Most of it.
But I hope you guys brought something to eat because we got the stories, we got the topics. You guys just got to bring your own beans or other sort of breakfast items.
Your own beans.
Well, might as well hit on the other part of this. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be clamoring over Randy Bullock. He might find a spot, but Robert Woods is a guy that I think could still play. According to his Twitter, he said that he's free, meaning that, I doubt that's not something you post if you plan to retire. So Robert Woods, you guys think that he can have some fantasy relevance if he lands in the right spot? I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
What spot could he be? He's pretty old.
He is, but the one thing is that he's a very good run blocker. So that usually gets you a job. Fantasy relevance, I don't know.
If he lands on a team where he can slot in as the wide receiver too, and it's not
Washington,
the Bears.
Oh no,
then I'm probably cool.
I got too much Jahan Dotson for that talk, JL. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Saying.
How about I don't know. How about I'd buy a spot like New England.
Yeah, that just makes too much sense. I feel like Robert Woods at the end of his career joining up with Billy B.
That is a solid pick.
Right, and it's like they have a bunch of pieces, but no one's really dominating targets, right? Devontae Adams is another good run blocking split end, but he's not going to dominate targets. Hunter Henry, capable of getting 100 at most, but he's not going to get like 140. And then Jacoby Myers is a free agent. So he could easily pop in there and make a little noise in fantasy. What about Kansas City?
That's him hopping in there making noise.
Your fantasy lineup.
Hey.
If he signs with Kansas City, then you just
Kansas City.
You throw him in the lump of, well, this guy will work out sometimes. Like with all the other Kansas City wide receivers that weren't named Juju Smith-Schuster this year. You had that one will this will work out more times than not with Juju. And then with the other ones, it was like, this will work out sometimes.
Throw him in the old.
Justin Watson, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore. He'd probably be the one I'd prefer the most out of that next bunch, but he's still in that next bunch.
Throw him in the old Kansas City Best Ball Yahtzee Cup.
Exactly.
Yahtzee Cup.
Every once in a while, see if he pops out with a into your lineup.
Exactly.
Also, I see NKC in the chat. Good morning, my friend.
Oh, how do we miss NKC? What's up? He was in here too early, it looks like. What's up, brother?
I greeted him. I greeted NKC.
Man.
I just wanted to say we didn't miss him. More than happy to greet him twice.
Well, double good morning to NKC.
Make it triple.
Make it double.
How do we feel about grits, guys?
I like grits.
I like all that Southern breakfast, dude. You just give it a Southern breakfast name and I'm in, especially biscuits and gravy.
Then you just give it a Southern breakfast name and I'm
just throw biscuits at the end of whatever the dish is.
If there's biscuits on the plate, I don't
and biscuits.
Care. Yeah, and biscuits. Just mix
salmon
that all
and biscuits.
Up. Put gravy on it. Oh yeah. Even though I'm not entirely sure what grits is.
It's a grain. It's in the like the rice, oatmeal, barley of a grain that you just let soak up water and then add other flavors to category.
Butter.
Yeah,
butter.
Usually
the best way to do it is just loaded with cheese. And if you don't like grits, I just don't believe that you've given them a real shot and you're an elitist who thinks they're a stupid Southern food, unwilling to actually try them.
See, I can understand why you wouldn't like grits.
I can't.
I won't take the elitist route here with the grits, but I will. I personally love grits, but I can understand why someone wouldn't.
Right. I think it falls into that. The greatest excuse in all of food is the texture excuse, right? What?
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Simon's reaction. Go ahead.
The greatest excuse of all of food is the texture. Just saying like, oh, I don't like the texture. It is such a cop out, but grits, it does fall in that category, I imagine. Like some people just don't like mushy stuff, you know?
Yeah, I didn't eat wet food for like 18 years. So I guess I'll have some more sympathy.
Wet food?
I wouldn't with two exceptions, okay? Like no sauces. There was probably a big reason why I didn't eat meat for a long time because like it leaked out juices. It freaked me out. Yeah, gross. But the two exceptions were cheese wet. So like a queso or a liquid cheese, that's
wet.
Fine.
I love how that's a category you
or a dessert wet, like a dessert syrup, like a chocolate syrup or a raspberry syrup.
What about
like,
a breakfast wet? Like a syrup.
Syrup falls under the dessert wet category. It is like
breakfast?
a sweet.
Even during breakfast time?
Do you want me to say yes again? Yeah. Syrup still falls under.
Bro, I definitely. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I definitely don't want you to say cheese wet again.
Cheese wet.
So yeah, say yes again. Don't say that.
And the cheese wet still counts whether it's eaten at breakfast, lunch, or dinner as well. The time of day when consuming the food doesn't change its category for me. Dessert wet, cheese wet, those are my two exceptions. But all other wet food was off to the wayside, and I guess that included grits.
That's wild, dude. So you're fairly new to the realm of wet foods. What's your favorite wet food?
Buffalo sauce. Yeah. If we're just talking things that got introduced into my life post. When I first tried buffalo sauce, I ate it every day for 10 days. Just
obviously drinks don't fall under wet food.
No, I didn't drink anything for 6 months.
Because I immediately thought my favorite wet food is chocolate milk, but then I realized that wouldn't count.
Yeah, I saw there's a Netflix series coming out that I think you're specifically going to be very excited about because this Netflix series is following Marcus Mariota, Patrick Mahomes, and Kirk Cousins in the 2022 NFL season. The players are mic'd up for every single game, and we're going to see the season through their perspective.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah. I can't wait for it, dude. The thing about everything I've seen from Kirk Cousins, man, is just like he just seems like he's
why Kirk Cousins and why Marcus Mariota? That's just such a baffling decision.
They probably said like, let's get someone from each tier, and they were like, let's get elite Kirk Cousins. Let's get elite Patrick Mahomes. Let's get somebody that's kind of middle of the pack. Kirk Cousins.
Oh, they're just making a smorgasbord.
And then they were like, let's get somebody that's kind of on the fringe, right? Marcus
Mariota. Little Sammy.
Yeah.
Someone losing. Do you think they mic'd up more quarterbacks fully for the entire season and then waited until the end of the year to decide like the narrative they were putting together? Like, do you think there were other options that we're never going to know about?
Oh, I don't know.
Lost Netflix quarterback tapes.
It would be smart, but it's like, what an ego hit if they were like, you just weren't fun enough.
Unless there were like 32, in which case it's like, oh, okay. Those guys are weirder than me for sure.
If they did all 30, you'd have to do full one way or the other, right? What happens if you get benched, though? You got to like give the mic, like Flacco has to like hand it over to Zach Wilson, who gives it to Mike White.
I guess we'll find out.
You just sit on the bench.
Mariota did get benched.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
I guess that's probably.
He was not happy about it, too, actually.
Now that I think about it,
he left the team. I wonder what happens at that point. Dude, imagine if there's one part of it where he just pulls the mic off and just walks off in the distance.
Or he accidentally leaves it on and goes home and starts crying and yelling into his pillow.
And playing Stardew Valley.
So, he's crying. Just crying, playing Nintendo Switch. I'd watch that.
Yeah, I'd watch the hell out of that.
Is this produced by the NFL or is it in the same group as like all the other stuff they're doing? Like, have you guys seen
Netflix? It's
Netflix. So is it the Drive to Survive guys and the guys doing the golf one? Because those are phenomenal. If you haven't seen it,
I have no idea. All I know is that it was Netflix producing it. Bro, so it's a series that they're pushing out.
It's probably the same people. The people that did Drive to Survive, if you haven't seen it, it's amazing. And now they have a golf one called something similar. golf wise. But I don't know. The guy on the plane next to me told me about it for a full hour and a half. And oddly, I listened to him for 10 whole minutes, and it does sound like it's going to be awesome. I think Scott Fish was talking about Full Swing. That's what it's called. Full Swing. Scott Fish was talking about how good that one's going to be. That one is. So.
Full Swing?
Yeah.
I haven't watched a single episode of that. I might have to turn it on.
Those are cool. So if it's like that, I'm going to be excited. Very well produced.
Oh, God. Now I just realized because I'm excited to watch this quarterback show, I got homework to do. I got to catch up on all the other shows that I've been behind on. Otherwise, it's just going to get added to the list.
Yeah. We've actually given you quite a list of things that you need to watch.
Oh, the movies are all optional. I may or may not watch a movie ever again, but the TV shows I got to catch up on.
Yeah. The number one what should be at the top of your list, Simon, should still be Gravity Falls.
It's up there. See Tommy in the chat saying, Simon, you're 100% a cat in your past life, from your food choices to your litter box skills. Maybe.
Wet food.
Meow.
Yeah.
I see Trenton in the chat said, morning, gents. Morning, Trenton.
Trenton, what's up, brother? How we doing?
Welcome in, my friend.
Yeah. So yeah, you're seeing it's almost official. Derek Carr, 2 people in chat said it's almost official. Derek Carr to the Jets, and also saw in there someone said that it's official that Derek Carr is almost to the Jets. So it sounds like it's close.
It's official. He's almost to the Jets.
Who said that? Because that is the best way to put that.
Yeah.
NKC. I love the way you said that.
Both,
it's official. Yeah. Derek to Jets, maybe official.
Maybe official. It's official.
I can see them both. So now I don't know. But honestly, man, I think that'd be a perfect fit. The more I've been thinking about it, like Aaron Rodgers should go to a team that has more expiring contracts where it's like they have like a 2-year window. The Jets are loaded up for a long time. So I think they need a guy that's more like 5, 6, 7-year guy. So I think Derek Carr probably is the perfect fit for them. You know,
how does that affect the wide receivers there for you? Obviously, Garrett Wilson, probably the main benefactor. Are you excited for the other pieces there? Any hope that any of them are going to re-sign?
This would be potentially a controversial take. Just did a write-up on the Jets. I'm doing write-up on every single team this offseason. And I honestly would be willing to buy Corey Davis in Dynasty for like a 3rd or 4th round pick, whatever you can get him for. Alex Korf just posted on Twitter yesterday that he bought him for a 4th round pick after reading the article. Here's my thought process on that. They need a split end, right? If they cut Corey Davis, Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson, neither one is big enough to line up with his foot tethered to the ground and play split end. So if they were to cut Corey Davis, where they save about $10 million doing it, then they have 2 options. Go out and find another split end, whereas now you're paying DJ Chark or Alan Lazard. Even as the big DJ Chark fan on the show, I'm not sure he's that big of an upgrade over Corey Davis, where, you cut Corey Davis to save 10 mil, then you give 15 mil to DJ Chark. I don't know. The other option is to do what the Colts did all those years when they had Jack Doyle and the big guy Allen. Like they would just use 2 tight ends and 2 flankers, T.Y. Hilton on one side, and then it was like Pierre Garçon for a little bit, like Moncrief. They wouldn't use a split end at all. So those are the 2 options. I think Corey Davis stays, and with Derek Carr, he could be in line for a decent number of targets. So Corey Davis, kind of a sneaky guy on my radar. Do you guys think Elijah Moore can come back around, or?
On the Jets, sometimes you watch a relationship sour to a point that even with like new quarterback, new coaching, like it just feels like it needs to be a change before you can see if that player is going to be good. And that's how I feel about Elijah Moore. I'm not sure it's going to happen on the Jets. I'd love for that to like change. Maybe they figure it out in the offseason. We've seen that as well, but I don't think his talent just disappeared, but he might need to be on a different team.
Man, I was watching the first Ravens-Jets game from week 1 yesterday. So rewatching it. And Elijah Moore got a couple catches in that game, and every time his name popped up, I was like, dang, he could be something. Like, I was reminded how talented he is. So I think he can still be something in the NFL. I think it's just a matter of him getting acclimated.
Yeah. I honestly, that's where I lean with it, because I think it was more of a situation where he fell out with the coaching staff, but that doesn't mean he's not good. That means maybe he needs, like you said, a new landing spot, because you really can only have 2 wide receivers that play every snap. And now we know Garrett Wilson's going to be one. So it's Corey Davis versus Elijah Moore. If he goes somewhere else, then he can be the Garrett Wilson on that team. But on this team, I think he's kind of resigned to playing the slot, which means it's a part-time role. And that's what got him so upset, you know? And the thing that really rubbed me the wrong way is that he came out and made all those comments after a 3-game winning streak. I was like, well, at least wait till they lose before you come out and complain, right? Complaining after a win, that's
going to make your case a little bit better.
Yeah. Then you look like a diva if you complain about targets after you guys just won by like 20 points.
Yeah, it's going to be received better if it's coming as just a desire to win instead of it comes across as selfish the other way, which you got to get your own. You got to look out for your own, but that's how it's going to come across.
Exactly. Like if you're an agent, NFL agent, you got to teach these guys how to complain properly, right? You don't come out and say, give me the ball more after a 20-point win. You say, hey, wait a week, and then say, I want to help us win. That means get me the ball more. There you go. Now you're a team player.
Absolutely. The Broncos, we've already talked about their defensive coordinator search and some of the names they've brought up, Rex Ryan, Vance Joseph. They added another interesting candidate, this coming from Ian Rappaport. They're now also looking at Matt Patricia for their defensive coordinator job. So Matt Patricia, formerly of the Lions, formerly of the Patriots, now potentially heading on over to the Broncos. Coop, you've Jail, you looked like you had something to say about Mr. Matt Patricia. We'll let the Patriot marinate on it. Matt Patricia took your voice away.
Classic Matt Patricia. Yeah, I don't know that I have that much to add here, apart from I feel like this could be I'm not super confident in Sean Payton, what he's doing over there in Denver. I'm a little concerned.
It does feel a little bit like playing the hits instead of just like finding the best fit. Like, why is every name that they're interviewing one that like isn't just one I've heard of, but it's like there's story behind it. There's narrative behind it. It feels like.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. Playing the hits is a good way to describe it.
Here's the way I look at it. At the very least, he's being hired to do the job that we know that he was good at before, right? He's not being the head coach. He's not being the offensive coordinator. He was a good defensive coordinator. There's no question about that. Like, whether he can bring that somewhere else and be a good defensive coordinator without Bill Belichick, we don't know. But at least he's not being hired to call the plays, right? So I don't know. I guess it's worth a stab. I just think in the modern era, there's so many guys out there that are good that the playing the hits thing is right. Like, why are we giving the same dudes the shot over and over and over and over instead of trying out these new up and coming guys?
I don't dislike Matt Patricia at all either. No. I'm not trying to disparage him. It's more so that I just don't know if Sean Payton is the mastermind, like the head coach mastermind that we all think. I'm not saying he's not. I have concerns.
We'll find out. The names coming up, Jail, do give me pause. Not that they're not great names. Just like, I don't know, I haven't heard of anybody else interviewing Rex Ryan. He's a media personality. Like it just seems like
didn't have a ton of confidence in Rex Ryan when he was coaching. So that one also makes me pretty worried.
And honestly, I like him better as an announcer. He just goes off the cuff a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And Craig said, you know why they're doing it. Yeah, they're doing it for attention. They're doing it for attention over there. Jail, Rex Ryan, Vance Joseph, Matt Patricia. You're the Broncos king. You're king of the Broncos. King of the Broncos. King of the Broncos. Who are you hiring as the defensive coordinator?
Vance Joseph.
Oh, coward. You are such a coward, bro.
Yeah, I am.
I'm also hiring Vance Joseph.
The answer's Rex Ryan, 100%. 100%, bro.
Dude, Rex Ryan can coordinate a Golden Corral for all I care.
I'll tell you, dude. It's not that Rex Ryan kind of kept the Rex Ryan balloon afloat. Like, he went from being a good defensive coordinator to being a coach, and then kind of flamed out as a coach, but then he jumped right in the booth. Like, he didn't take a step back at any point, So we've seen coaches have a tough time as head coaches, then go back to being good coordinators. Happens all the time, right? Like, Wade Phillips. So yeah, go ahead, give me Rex Ryan. Like, I need to see him somewhere where he's not doing the job, at least that half of the job. So I think Rex Ryan can still do it.
Yeah, like,
Plus
like Jason Garrett has found extreme success as an offensive coordinator after his stint with the Cowboys, right?
Well, he didn't go in. Well, I guess he did kind of go in the booth a little. All I know is that Rex Ryan is definitely the most interesting in press conferences, and that's what I like. I like to see. I want to see more Rex Ryan quotes.
I can live with more Rex Ryan quotes. Tommy agreeing with you down there, Coop, saying 100%.
That's a hungy, bro.
Hungy. Hungy sounds better than hungy.
Me hungy for Rex.
Me hungy.
You stopped before you let Ryan come out. You're like, no, I shouldn't say that. Me hungry for Rex Ryan. Daddy Rexy.
Yeah. So have you guys, I've been seeing, there's been a lot of Zeke chatter lately, and it kind of started the same place a lot of the Cowboy stuff starts is I swear these Cowboy beat writers, one of them comes up with like a idea and then they all just quote each other. And I'm not talking about Calvin because like he stays pretty pure, but like guys like Mike Fisher, like one of them will come up with, I'll be like, here's what I think they're going to do. And then the next article will be Cowboys insider believes this. And the next article will be like Sports Illustrated was reporting, right? And at the very bottom of the whole thing, when you finally get to the bottom of it, it's just one dude giving his opinion, you know? But now that this has started coming out, we're seeing a ton of different people weighing in on Zeke Elliott, all kind of saying the same thing, like that he's lost a step. A lot of people around the league think that it's clear. And if he doesn't take a pay cut, then he's going to be out. And not only that, but people are coming out saying if he doesn't take a pay cut with the Cowboys, he might not land with anybody. So where are you guys on Zeke? Do you think that, you know, he'd be willing to take a pay cut? And if he does get cut, are other teams going to take a stab on this guy?
I think it's going to take a bit for Zeke to shake the stigma, because everybody has seen what he's done the last 2 years. It's not a secret. Other teams see it. As much as fantasy managers are upset, NFL teams are going to look at his performance and see that same thing. So I agree with the OP in this one, which is Zeke's going to have to do something probably, unless Jerry Jones is just still willing to eat it, which I don't think is. I think eventually he's going to get enough pressure, enough people calling him dumb that he's going to probably shift or at least want to restructure. So
you think there's too much salt on that Egg McMuffin at this point for him to eat?
I think there was too much salt to begin with.
No. I look at it and I say, like, I think the real problem for Zeke has been the juxtaposition of him and Tony Pollard, right? Because it's like, if Tony Pollard's not there, we might not even notice some of these plays where he, you know, the hole is there and he doesn't have the explosiveness. But Tony Pollard just being so explosive has really exposed Zeke. I mean, because Zeke can still get the yard. When you need 1 yard, Zeke can get it. If you need 2 yards, he can get it. But the problem lies when the hole is there and he doesn't have the burst, right? So I think he could go and somewhere and pair with another player on another team and be good. But I don't know. I don't know if he's a full-time guy. I could see him with the Bills, 1-2 punch with James Cook. Could be a good spot, right?
Yeah. I think he lands somewhere. Even if scouts are saying he's washed, he's lost a step, he's not able to get it done, his name is still Ezekiel Elliott. And if he's willing to forego the massive amount in his contract, he'll get signed somewhere. But I do think he's probably going to have to forego that contract, take some sort of restructure, some sort of pay cut. But what I'm seeing here is if he signs on another team, his value may be so suppressed in fantasy because of this that he actually becomes draftable as like a potential RB2, RB3 kind of player. Know what I mean? Like draft him as like an RB3 with upside if something happens to the other piece there. Because this is not going to be good for his draft stock. It's going to plummet the way they're talking about him here. And if he ends up on a new team, just watch it fall, man.
I've been looking at the early best balls, man, and I'm willing to take a stab. You know, him, Leonard Fournette. I mean, we're talking like 9th and 10th round picks. Like, you're not even taking him to beat. No, we're not talking your RB2, RB3. We're talking like you've already drafted your whole team, and you're just throwing Zeke on the bench. And he had a stretch of games where these were his touchdown counts from week 6 until week 16. He did miss 2 games in the middle. 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Like a full-on 10-game stretch with at least 1 touchdown. So in the right offense, this guy can move the ball, right? Not very quickly, but he's not going backwards.
It's hot. It's sexy. That's sex appeal, in case you were wondering.
Yeah. Coaches like that, man. At the end of the day, analytics, this, that, it's about first downs, it's about touchdowns. If the guy's getting those first downs, getting those touchdowns, he'll find a spot. Now, I just thought in my mind of the most annoying possible landing spot ever that I'm almost scared to say. But because it might come true if I do, should I just keep it to myself so that it doesn't happen?
Yeah, probably. Okay. Next, I'm just kidding.
What if he were to land on the Los Angeles Chargers and be the short yardage back for the Chargers with Austin Eckler operating on third? Yeah.
No, thank you.
That would have been great pain within the fantasy community.
Yeah. That would just ruin so much. That would not be fun at all.
It would just rewind us to the period of time where it was Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler.
Then it would just be like, well, hope you got Christian McCaffrey.
Imagine. What if he gets
Jonathan Taylor?
Don't trade Austin Eckler for Tevin Coleman.
That'll work out. I think you just were a little early on that one, JL. Tevin Coleman's time is still coming.
Yeah,
he had that one good season. What was that, 2016?
Who knows?
I was like, yeah, that was the year I made the trade.
Tevin Coleman and
the year before his contract is up.
Tevin Coleman on the Falcons with
Devonta Freeman.
Devonta Freeman, yeah, that little 1-2 punch. Those are the days, JL.
Those were the days. But yeah, Zeke, very worrisome. We'll see what he does.
I was watching something yesterday. I was reading something on Reddit. I used the wrong adjective to describe what I was doing. On the college football subreddit, I know we usually talk about NFL here, and there was a thread talking about if someone from 100 years ago showed up today, and let's assume it's college football season, they're a fan of your favorite team, and you were taking them to a college football game, what would you need to explain to them before you went? Like, they're so different about the game. To a college football game, what do you need to explain to them? And the answers to that were awesome. And the one that piqued my interest the most was they were talking about, it wasn't until well into the life of football as a collegiate or professional sport that the coaches were legally allowed to talk to the players on the field when calling plays. The quarterback was the play caller. They had a game plan, but they called every play. The coach wasn't allowed to communicate to them. And this way they did substitutes. If you were substituted out of a game during the first half, you weren't allowed to come back until the second half. And if you were subbed out of a game in the second half, you were done for the game. And you had to call a timeout to substitute a player. It wasn't a substitution after every single play. So the same 11 guys were on the field unless they called a timeout to sub a player out. A lot closer to soccer.
Yeah, fantasy football must have been dope back then.
No!
Same 11 dudes every play.
Oh,
if you got to get subbed out, then it's a nightmare. But same 11 dudes every play? Hell yeah, that's like Ron Rivera.
Just don't get hurt. Whatever you do.
Back then to get subbed out, you must have been half dead. If you broke your wrist, they were like, I'm sorry. They look over the sideline. They look at Marion Motley with a broken wrist. They're like, nah, you're staying in, Marion.
They pick some grass and just rub it all over the wrist.
They just tie one arm to your side and you just carry it with your left hand.
All I could think of when I read that prompt was that football was the least of our worries. This guy's going to have so many more questions walking around a college campus than, hey, what rules did they change? No, he's not even going to notice that there's a football game going on.
That was my
first. Does he know football?
That was my first thought.
Yeah, he's a college football fan.
That was my first thought. I was like, how are you going to explain vaping to this guy? You know what I mean?
This is my cigarette, but you plug it in.
Plug it in. He's like, plug it in. Hey, you plug it into.
Just imagine at the tailgate watching people play cornhole and just take shots.
And he's just staring at your car, what? And he turns around, everyone's dumping little cups into their mouth.
Give the guy a
ceremoniously chanting weird things.
He takes a sip of the alcohol and he's like, "Oh, I know this."
Give the dude a White Claw, just blow his mind.
We have to tell him sorry, it's legal now. We don't have to hide this.
Can't stop burping.
100 years ago, that was right in the heart of Prohibition, right? The 20s.
That's true. He'd probably see Tommy goes, why is beer $15? Yeah, he'd probably see the beer prices have a heart attack, dude.
$15 back then is probably
like a wooden
15 million if all the old people are right.
It's back in the day, you'd pay half a clamshell, dude.
Was that the currency of choice in the 20s?
Clams.
I don't even know. Yeah.
It's not even actual clams, just clam shells.
Yeah.
Only the rich get the clams.
That's right, dude. So,
the shells fall to the wayside.
I mean, if you were able to bring this guy, if he still knew his bank account number, Tommy, he probably would be rich, dude. Think of just the.
Did they have banks in the 20s?
They had
They
up until 1929. Yeah. 1929.
What happened in 1920? I'm just kidding. That was the Great Depression.
That's when they switched over from clams to pennies.
And then everything went to hell. Bring back clams. That's what we're running for president on. The clams. The clam standard.
The clam standard.
The clam standard.
Where do you guys stand on historical fictions?
Some of my favorite books are historical fictions. Koenig Wilden has a historical fiction series about the life of Genghis Khan, and I have read every single book of it, and it's so much fun. You get to learn a little, and then the best part is it kind of piques your interest about things, and then you get to go learn like the real story behind it.
See, the reason I thought about that was I was thinking of the TV show on Netflix called Medici, which follows the life of the Medici family in Italy. But it's one of those shows that's, you know, dramatized. It's not a documentary. It's fiction, but it's based, you know, off the events that happened during that time. And you brought up Genghis Khan, Simon. And it just made me think there's another one of those that I really like called Marco Polo on Netflix.
I've watched the Marco Polo one. That's really good.
It's really good. And I feel like it's that type of thing where like piques your interest, but isn't so dry. You know what I mean?
So I need it to be very specific for me to like it because I like to learn a little something. So if it's, I will really enjoy it if it's everything, if the guy has done his research and everything is historically accurate except for the characters are made up, right? So it's like you go to medieval times and they're acting exactly as they would, so I can learn a little something. If they're just making it up entirely, then I'm just like, I don't know.
I think typically what they do is they take like major events that happen in history and they create like narratives around them.
They fill in the blanks.
They fill in the blanks. Yeah,
so
but like the characters, like when I watch the shows, like I'm learning about real people who did exist, even if like maybe everything they say in the show is not quite accurate.
Yeah, no, I like that. That I'm cool with for sure. Yeah, as long as they're as long as like they're not just fully making it up, you know.
Yeah,
but I'm in.
I do also like the other one where they take historical figures and just kind of
go ham.
Like, have you seen
XCA Lincoln
or Clone High, the old MTV show? Have you watched that?
No.
It's where they clone a bunch of historical figures like Genghis Khan and Joan of Arc and Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, but then they put them in a high school. It's an animated show, and it's just like a typical like teen drama, but all the characters are major historical figures. Gandhi is in there. It's worth checking out. That's some historical fiction that leans heavy on the fiction.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go fiction, I would want it to go all the way fiction. Like I want Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, right? Like I want just absolutely off the rails.
You want Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy having a fight over who's going to take Cleopatra to prom? Because then do I have this show for you?
That sounds animated.
It is animated. It's 100% animated.
What do you got?
Clone High. The one I was.
Oh, that is Clone High. Oh, okay. Cool.
Clone High.
Oh, I like that. I like that idea.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I want Abraham Linkler from Rick and Morty, which is like a mashup of Abraham Lincoln and Adolf Hitler. Great character. That's what I want. Take it to another level. Yeah.
We got some news. Yes. Oh, go ahead, Coop.
I was gonna say there's a player, there's a former player become coach floating around that I want to see land a job, but it's crazy. For the past like 2 years, he's been talked about for different jobs, and then he doesn't take them. And a lot of times it's phrased differently than a lot of other ones. Jim Leonard. Have you guys seen the stuff surrounding Jim Leonard? I think
no.
Like, so he'll have these meetings, and then it'll be like, oh, they mutually decided it wasn't the right fit. And this is like the 5th time I've seen that. I think this most recent one might have been with the Ravens, where he's currently the coach for Wisconsin football. And, they've been trying to bring him into Eagles, trying to bring him a bunch of different places, Denver as well. And it's just like, at the end of the interview, they're just like, oh, yeah, we decided not to hire him. But I think he'd be a great hire. This guy was tough as nails. One of the few players I've ever seen come back from a patella tendon injury in the NFL and play at a high level. So, I mean, the guy's got toughness. And he sounds like he's a great candidate. I just don't know what's going on, why he's always such a hot name. And at the end of the day, he never comes in. Got to check him out. But it's so weird because it's like, it's never like, oh, we decided not to hire him. It seems like he's the one that decides he doesn't want to take the job.
Oh, Jim.
Yeah, he's been tied to the Eagles, the Broncos, and then I want to say also the Ravens, but maybe not.
Maybe he just doesn't want to. Like maybe he gives it a shot every time, but I don't think I'd want to be a coach in the NFL. That honestly sounds like not a good job. Like unless you're truly super passionate about it. And just because you were a player or you've coached in the past, like he was the interim head coach of Wisconsin, right? That's what I'm seeing. That's what we have over there. Like maybe he's done that and he's not a big fan.
Yeah. I mean, being a college coach sounds way better, bro. Just like trying to get kids to come. And then when they do, if you don't like them, you say, hey, why don't you just transfer? You know, it's just like, it seems no trade. You don't have to deal with trades. You don't have to deal with salary cap, right? It's just like,
either way,
everybody loves you.
The time commitment for either in season is absolutely absurd from those guys. The amount of time they have to put in to find success. So I totally get being like, I don't want it. I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, like, you really have to be crazy passionate about it. It's like fantasy football. Like,
it's like
the amount of time we spend doing this.
Football.
I mean, but to a certain degree,
not enough.
Like, we spend a lot of time. Like, if you don't love doing this, it's not going to work. You know?
No,
true.
Absolutely not. Tommy in the chat letting us know we forgot Shekels and Schmeckles.
Schmeckles.
How many Schmeckles do you think a beer costs nowadays?
A Schmeckle and a beer.
3.
Just slap a Schmeckle on the tap.
Slap a Schmeckle on it.
Slap a Schmeckle and say.
We got Albert in the chat. Say good morning, everyone. Morning, Albert.
Morning, Albert.
Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. I forgot to mention you guys. The Panthers owner said something the same thing recently that I said on the show. He goes, because they've been hiring like crazy, the Panthers, and I like their hires a lot. But he goes, hey, there's no salary cap on the coaching staff, so it's about convincing these guys to come here. He's like, I'm willing to pay these guys whatever. It's about them wanting to come here, and they've made some pretty good hires this offseason, if you ask me. They brought in Deuce Staley they stole him away from the Lions. Their head coach is going to be
Frank Reich.
Frank Reich, yep. And then their offensive coordinator is I was hoping you would fill in the blank on that one too.
That's the one I forget.
Yeah.
It's Dr. JJ Diamond.
Oh, yep. So Dr. JJ Diamond. Love when he comes on our show.
Thomas Brown,
yeah. So they've been crushing over there. I like what they're doing.
So speaking of Frank Reich and the Panthers, Siciliano tweeted yesterday, a quote from Frank Reich. He said, this game is 80 to 90% about the players, 10 to 20% about the coaching. At the end of the day, it's a player's game.
Is Frank Reich the college football fan that got transported here from 100 years ago? Does he think the quarterbacks are still calling the plays?
Think so.
No, but that's a cool quote. That's a cool quote from a coach, from a leader to say, you know what, I'm just here to facilitate. It's really all these guys. That's what you should say whenever you're the leader, right?
You know what's funny is that quote, you could take that and apply it to another context, and then it would be like the worst quote ever. Like imagine if Nick Sirianni said that the moment they lost the Super Bowl. Then it's not a cool quote. It's like, it's 80% on the players. So in this context, it is a good quote, but you could definitely transport that to another place and time. Like our time traveler.
I guess I didn't think about it that way. It could be bad even in this context. Like he could be saying it tongue in cheek, like, hey, when I inevitably have a bad record here, just remember the players you gave me to start with.
Yeah, that's one if you throw a just remember in there, and now it's not that good of a quote. He's right, though. I mean, the players play the game.
Do the Panthers have the best shot at winning that division next year?
I mean, kind of, right?
Maybe.
They need a quarterback, dude. It depends what team.
Falcons,
over
But
there.
so does
Saints.
every other team in that division. No team in that division has a
What's-
quarterback.
What's the best quarterback right now in the NFC South? Is it Andy Dalton?
Kyle Trask? I don't know. Andy Dalton probably is the right answer.
Right. Is Desmond Ritter the best coach? The best quarterback? I mean, he might not even
Best
be the
coach.
Is he the best coach?
Could be. We got to get
Yeah,
Dio
that-
back on here. Tell us what's Desmond Ritter's coaching ability like.
Yeah. Keith,
Dio Ledbetter.
hot tea. Get Dio Ledbetter on here, please. Today, if you don't mind. Thanks.
We need the scoop. Guys, you want to get into some Weddle with me this morning? We're still undefeated.
Yep.
So it took us a little bit extra yesterday to get there. Who
Yeah,
picked
I
the
had
player
a-
yesterday? I think it was
I had a-
Coop, right?
Yeah, I had a meeting yesterday, executive meeting at 3:30 with two consultants of the show, my father and Auntie Coop, and they told me that they enjoy the morning Weddle. So we got the green light from them that they like
to
it,
know.
learning a little bit about players. But I also showed them the website because they hadn't actually seen the website. It's a lot easier to follow along if you have the website. So if you're out there, go to weddlegame.com and play along with us.
Do it. Dustin in the chat just in time for Weddle. What's up, Dustin? Good morning, my
Dustin,
friend.
good morning.
Dustin.
John Luke, you got the first guess. What player you want to go with?
Oh, don't say AJ Brown. Don't say AJ Brown, JL. AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. Okay. This player is younger than AJ Brown, so younger than 25, but 23 or 24, and their number is 9 or 10. They are much shorter than 6'1, so 5'10 or smaller. They are not a wide receiver, and they're not in the NFC. So probably a running back, right?
Feels that way.
Feels that way? An
Could be a
AFC running
QB,
back.
but probably a running back.
Yeah, there's only so
It
many
could be
QBs.
Kyler Murray
Under-
or a running back.
No, because Kyler's NFC. So,
Oh, and he's under
5'10 or shorter.
so
11.
yeah, it's probably not. Could be, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not a tight end. Okay. So in the AFC, and he's got a low number running back. How about
And age is youngish, 23 or
What's
24. I guess it's like
McCaffrey's? No, he's older.
too old.
23 or 20?
Elijah Mitchell.
Devin Singletary,
it's
Elijah
gotta be-
Mitchell.
It's got to be AFC, Joe.
Elijah Mitchell is it? No, he's
No, he's
NFC.
NFC.
He's NFC.
Um,
I always get the West divisions mixed up. Those are the ones
West,
that like
the Wests are tricky.
How
Devin
about-
Singletary, or is he too old? I don't think he's too old.
Yeah, no, he is. He's
Okay.
hitting he's free agent this year, which means he's got to be at least 24, 25. No, he's 25. How about Chris Evans from the Bengals?
Be a pull. Goes right.
I'm fine taking that shot for the glory of getting Chris Evans in 2.
Be wild. Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's try it. I like taking the shot. Chris Evans. Okay. AFC is correct. Position is correct. They're shorter than 5'11, so we knew that. So they're
He's already 25. Feels like
5'9, and then the number is 25 as well for Chris Evans.
It does feel like he was just a rookie.
I know. What the heck, dude? Just
Being
that
old
Did he
mission.
come in
rookie.
late? Yeah, he must have been.
Must have, yeah.
Because he's got to be this has got to be his 3rd year.
Right. He's older than Alexander Madison. Like he's been waiting in the
Like a Damian Harris. A
He doesn't
backup
feel like
running
he's been
back.
waiting in the wings that long.
Or just the Damian Harris of running
Joe,
backs, I guess.
What is
Perhaps.
ETN's number?
1.
How tall is ETN?
I don't know.
5'10".
5'10".
Get him in. We have to get him in there.
Would probably be around 23, 24, right? After his second season in the NFL.
Get him in.
Okay, well, damn it. It's not ETN. I was feeling real good about that one.
Got the height though.
But everything works. So this player's 5'10", running back is correct, not in the AFC South. They're younger than 24, which means we know that they are 23 because it was yellow for 24 and 25. And their number is higher than 1, but lower than 11. So 9 or 10.
9 or 10. Who the heck is
23.
number 9?
So this has got to be
23-year-old.
like a sophomore or a rookie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking AFC East or AFC West. Is it what number does Javonte Williams wear?
He's too tall. He's
He's a big boy.
a big boy, right? He's taller than 5'10", I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can't be the North. Well, no, it's definitely not the North.
George has a good guess in the chat. Isaiah Pacheco. What number does he wear?
10.
Oh, that's wheelhouse.
You want to try it?
That's wheelhouse, baby.
And it is Isaiah Pacheco. In the chat.
Get some music for George. Throw some music on George, baby. Yeah, Georgie boy. George on the board, baby. Let's go.
Congratulations.
Let's go.
You did it.
You done it. You done it.
Well done, George. Well done.
George says he put shades on too on his side. Get them going, boy. All right. Dustin says we can get the hard one today, boys. You want to do it or you out?
Let's do it.
All right. All right. The hard mode. So for anyone out there, hard mode is the same, a very similar game, except now all players are involved, offense and defense and special teams and all the linemen. So Dustin might be setting this up for a super failure here if it's like a backup offensive tackle.
How do you get to hard mode?
You go to settings, the settings wheel, and then we probably should have told everyone that. Yeah, you go to, if anyone that's playing along with us, go to settings on the top left, the little cog wheel up there, and then just click hard mode and it'll switch over.
All right. Who are we going with first? Who's got the first guess?
Taylor Lewan.
Big Booty Judy.
Big Judy Booty.
Taylor
How about
we don't even know what team he's on anymore. Did they already update that?
They remove him? Oh, they did.
Pick a player on a team.
They removed him. Do Jeffrey Simmons from the same team.
Jeffrey Simmons. Okay, well, nothing. We know they're in the AFC. They're not on defense. They're shorter than 6'4". Nice. They're older than 25, and their number is lower than 28. So it's an offensive player.
Lower than 98.
Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, wait.
No, they're AFC.
Wait.
Dang it.
Yeah. Offensive player from the NFC. So
no,
I guess
AFC was right, guys.
Oh, AFC was right.
Was correct. Yeah. So Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy.
Everything else checks out. Jerry Jeudy. The height is correct. The position is wrong. They're older than 20. Oh, I'm an idiot. Jerry Judy's younger than 25. I thought the arrow was pointing the other way.
Yep. Yep. Up. Keep it up. Okay, so there's not many running backs that are 6'1" or like there's not a lot of running backs that are 6'1", and there's not a lot of
wait a minute
older than 25 either.
This is a special teamer because there's no yellow on the defensive or
it's a freaking kicker or long snapper or something.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't we go with?
This has got to be a kicker, I bet.
An AFC kicker. No, an AFC kicker that's not in the West or the South.
Not in the West and South. What about Sanders? Jason Sanders.
Yeah, do Jason Sanders.
Miami.
Okay. AFC East is correct. Kicker is correct. He was too short. His number is kicker number is going to help at all. Does anybody know kicker numbers?
No.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop saying the number part.
I mean, the number is either 6 or 5. Maybe the chat does.
They're older than 27 by quite a bit. So this is an old kicker.
Nick Folk. Nick Folk for the Patriots is older than 27.
It's got to be one of those 3. We now have 3 choices, right? It's either Patriots, Jets, or Bills.
Yeah, we got this one there. We got this one cornered.
It was Nick Folk. Nick Folk is absolutely correct. Look at that hard mode. Lake Our Hogs.
Anyone not familiar with the show? Anyone not familiar with the hog theme of the show would come in. Anyone coming in
find that troubling.
It's like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
That's not a phrase I want to hear again.
And the best part is that anyone that is familiar with the show is like, yep.
They're sitting at home on the couch doing pig noises
with their shades.
Yeah, they're like, anyone that is familiar with the show is like, that's right. Hogs up, baby.
Hog.
Got it. 4 hogs up.
I was gonna say, and then they hear from downstairs, shut up.
Justin goes, lick our hogs. Can we get that on a shirt?
Oh, probably absolutely. Not. Probably not. Absolutely.
Probably not. No, I don't think so. Definitely not through the Better Sports page. But if you do go on the Better Sports Network page, I will tell you, there's a lot cooler shirts on there. They've procured a huge collection of autographed jerseys, autographed helmets. Pop over there. They're all like reasonable prices. Pretty cool. Pretty cool spot. So go check that out.
And maybe we'll throw a signed licked hog in there or something. You never know. You never know.
Just sign it.
I don't know what that means.
We should have signed some merch while we were together in Vegas.
Yeah, so we could just so no one could buy it. We got some games coming up, guys. We're gonna go through a bracket of video game consoles. We're gonna play some Fantasy Feud and some poll perception. And then we're going to give you some of our best pitches for ideas that we've just been marinating on. Can't wait to put in front of each other. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
It's Moose and Keith with Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Moose and Keith with you. Let's welcome aboard right now, Iron Eagle.
One of the great stories that I have from doing notes on a plane, and you always get people looking over. They see color-coded uniform numbers, names, height, weight, age, background, hometown. And I had a woman sitting next to me on a flight, and I'm doing my notes, and she's kind of giving a look, then looking, and I can tell she's looking. And then finally, she'll say, so what is it that you do? Well, what do you think I do? She said, are you a wedding planner? I said, yes. I said, I have to put Rob Gronkowski at Tom Brady's table. I said, you know what? You're not correct, but it's the best answer I've ever heard.
That's great.
Corey Nando and Friends, presented by Mayo Media.
Fantasy executive. A football life. The fantasy executive is probably going to be the best football life ever.
Who will be the guest? Everyone who was on yesterday. Basically.
Yeah, everybody that's on yesterday will be the guest. Scott Ingram, you know what I'm saying? Adam Ronis. Yeah, everybody, those people. Because what Nando, obviously you'll be there. You know what I'm saying? We'll go to the GST and shoot some scenes. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be nice.
We'll shoot some scenes in Midtown Manhattan. Antonio Brown can be on my football life,
That'd
right?
Be nice.
Because that's a big part of my come up as a fantasy analyst. Everybody, the football life, the fantasy executive is going to be for the people. When they do the football life on the fantasy executive, I'm going to be hands on.
Good. Yeah. You talking to you.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Cheetos or Doritos?
I truly love both. Cool Ranch Doritos.
Wow.
I grew up on Cheetos. I was a big Chester Cheetah guy.
Oh, nice.
But Ray, as I have aged into adulthood, I've moved away from the fun that is the Cheeto, and I've gone to the, more cosmopolitan Cool Ranch Dorito chip. So I'm probably a Cool Ranch guy. How about you?
I would go Doritos. I don't like Cool Ranch. The traditional, original, regular, whatever it is really good. But my favorite's actually the sweet chili, the purple bag. Oh, it's delicious. It's fantastic.
Yeah. The one that sucks, and I think we can all agree on this one, taco.
Yeah.
I know a lot of things, and I'm perfect at a lot of things. My Dorito trivia is a little shaky.
Okay.
A little shaky. But I think taco is the first flavor.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game.
Auto beans. Whip. Ow.
I never know when I'm supposed to say something when you guys do the beans thing.
Those noises that Mr. Jonathan Gannon made have been in my, I find myself just walking around the house, it's my walking noises now. Like if I'm just pacing around the house, it's like shoo, shoo, shoo.
So
shoo.
now that I've watched that video over 40 times, the most disturbing part to me is the way he looks at Rondell Moore. Like he looks him top to bottom, like he's the Terminator, like scanning him. Like he literally goes, like he's a robot, and he's like, "Oh, yes, shoo, shoo, shoo. You can run." Like it's like why does he have to look all the way down and all the way up?
You ever been given the up down, like the full up down, like where there's judgment going on, positive or negative, but
he gives him the full up down.
Number one up down. I've only gotten it once my whole life, but it was from Mike Williams. Whenever I asked him how tall Hunter Renfrow was, he gave me the full up down, bottom to top, and said, "Man, that dude's smaller than you are."
I see on YouTube we were having some technical difficulties. Our screen is currently black on the YouTube stream. We are going to try and figure that out. So apologies, anybody watching on YouTube.
Well, let's
trying to scare him a little.
Let's check. Yeah, everyone says there's a black screen. Yeah, but what number am I holding up, chat?
They can't see.
Whoever guesses
it's a 2 chat.
Whoever guesses it gets an autographed hog shirt.
They got a pretty good shot at figuring it out.
Yeah. No video.
Also, Victor,
we got Tony on it.
Cuddling is what Victor said. That's why the video got cut off.
Hot pasta's gonna take care of it. All right.
Everyone guessing numbers in the chat. We got 4. We got 7. No one's guessed the number yet. Nick said, "Give me the hog."
A lot of 4s.
And KC said 4 as well.
They go big, dude. They go big.
Wow.
I just learned.
So we truly do have no video then, based on the number.
Yeah, we have no video
on YouTube. Yeah.
I learned yesterday. Speaking of all the 4s in here, that you know how in a lot of American hotels the number 13 is omitted from floors.
Yeah.
That in Chinese culture the number 4 is considered unlucky. And so if you go into a hotel in China, a lot of times the 4th floor will be missing, like in tall buildings there. And a lot of times the 14th floor as